All right, let me know if you guys can hear me clearly. Hope you're all having an amazing, amazing Saturn day in the Matrix. Appreciate every single one of you for making it to this moment, to this now. Just going to let those notifications go out. Got about 200 people to kick things off. It's beautiful, beautiful to see. Get some visuals going in the background. Oh man, what a week. What a week it's been. I gotta admit, I'm fired up for this one today. I've been doing some crazy decoding behind the scenes. I have a very powerful full length presentation coming out soon, aiming for November 1st, and it will be the Black Moon Decoded. Kind of starts off decoding this US selection on November 5th, and then it rolls into some other themes for the month of November, and then kind of preps you for what I'm anticipating for the month of December, where we'll have that black moon to finish off the Gregorian year of 2024. So I'm kind of giving you all the information about a month and a half in advance. Technically, I guess 2 months, considering the black moon is pretty much on New Year's. As I usually do, I always try to get everything out way in advance, but we'll definitely be wrapping up some of my thoughts on this upcoming election. That's become the talk of the town, hence the name of today's live stream. The soul prep is needed. I'm sure you all feel it. I have a lot going on in the world stage, and this election is just one of many distractions. And I know it means a lot to some people, for whatever reason. I know that we're all on our own path, realizing the significance of one thing versus the other. As you expand consciously more and more, you go within more and more. And it's not to say that if you care about politics that you're asleep. That's not my point. But I look at everything as stepping stones. And once you learn enough about what's going on in politics, you start to awaken to the leadership within you. And that's what we represent here. As I always say, I speak to the ears of leadership. I don't care to have followers. I believe you're all so much more than that. And in order for you to truly embody leadership, you can't get caught up in the web of politics. All we can do is decode it. And hopefully through that decoding of it, we can unlock some answers that'll provide us with a sense of clarity and calmness amongst this chaos. So the ultimate message out of all of this is be the light that shines through the darkness. And I'm assuming, just like every other 4 years, this early November timeframe is going to be very dark. So today's live stream is dedicated to the prep, the mindset, just the state of awareness one has to be in to go through this next couple weeks without being completely dragged through the mud and what everyone else wants to drag you through. Because that's really what it is, right? You all remember C19. There was plenty of annoying moments during that where everyone wanted you to comply and do what they thought was the right thing to do. They thought wearing a mask was safe. They thought staying 6 feet apart was safe. And to you, it never really made much sense, right? So your intuition was flaring up all the time. in 2020, 2021, 2022, and hopefully those 2 years of accessing your intuition and finally listening to yourself for once awakened a superpower within you that you always had. It was just put on mute. And if anything, we found the remote control to the simulacrum. And yes, you can switch through the channels. You can increase or decrease the volume of the noise in the background. You could even mute it out if you want. And when you mute the noise that's going on in the background, then you could finally, for once, hear your own inner voice, your intuition. And that's a powerful technology that very few people access because they're too caught up in the tug of war between left and right and wrong and blue and red. You see, duality consciousness is great and all. Again, another stepping stone, but it's a trap in either direction. All right, let's say hi to a couple of beautiful souls joining us. Truth Seeker 86, powerful number there, 86. I believe there's a reason why Stranger Things last season was synchronized to have this Vecna character and to have this moment of you being told what all of those so-called monsters were. It was just synchronized with the year 1986 in the show. 86 and 68 are big numbers here in my art. But yeah, I was thinking about this with Stranger Things, how all of the main antagonists from the first, second, and I believe also the third season, you finally get told who they are, where it all stems from in the fourth season and the one with this Vecna character. And I was just talking about this. I actually am decoding this similarity between Voldemort in Harry Potter and Darth Vader in Star Wars, which of course came way earlier than the Harry Potter movies. And then you have this Vecna character in Stranger Things, which came way after the Harry Potter movies. It's funny, there's like something interesting about these 20 to 30-year intervals. Probably has a lot to do with the Hebrew calendar as well, because that's what's running Hollywood. But anyways, welcome, Truth Seeker 86. Hope you're having a beautiful, beautiful Saturn day. Mr. Jansen, much love as always. Hope you're doing amazing. Also, not sure if you tuned into the recent podcast I did with Decode Your Reality and Archaics. That was dope. It was really fun to get together and chat with them for a couple hours. It looks like Archaics is working on this amazing, amazing program called Ophis. I'm really excited to get my hands on it. If you guys haven't watched this podcast, you might want to. You might want to squeeze it in your schedule because it was powerful. And then at the end, I'm very grateful for Archaics, by the way, for the shout out saying that the inclusion of the lunar cycles was influenced by a conversation that me and him had. That was really great to get that recognition, but also beyond that, it's really great that other creators out there are considering the power of this. And if you didn't see that podcast that I did with him, it was probably just a month or two ago. It was quite recent. I don't remember the exact date, but I went into a quick moon phases tutorial with him, showing him the relationship between the new and full moons with the market. And it just one thing led to the next. And I believe he has this program launching soon. I don't know all the details. You'll have to go check out his channel. But he gave me a little snippet of it in the last podcast we just did a couple days ago. And I chose 2 dates that I wanted him to plug in because we had a date that went within the time frame available for what the program's currently at. And it gave us some really interesting data. So I'm not gonna spill it all out now. I think you should just all go check it out because it was an absolute stream of consciousness from all 3 of us, and it was beautiful to get together. And also, some people, might have taken the start of that podcast, um, the wrong way, I guess I should say. Some people thought that, we were kind of making, I don't wanna say making fun or pointing out, like, negative stuff about Archaic's microphone, but it was a joke. We were joking, you know. It's been multiple times of us all getting together now. And me and Logan have spoke probably 18 podcasts now. Me and Archaic's have done a bunch. We've all become friends, and at least internet on the internet. I haven't met Archaic's in person yet, but we're all just having fun. You know, I think it's important. And really, what I was saying in regards to his microphone was that he's at a point where his art is clearly more the focal point, and I support that. I want people to focus more on the art than on the tools, okay? Because tools are only as useful as they can be in the hands that they're wielded in. So that was really the joke slash me honoring his work because he does so much amazing presentations and has a really, you know, creative process. And he's admitted on that live that he didn't really want to use all these new fancy microphones. I don't know if it's some tech related stuff. It could be. It's been the case for me actually with quite a bit of things. You know, I am very slow to take on these new technological advancements like ChatGPT and Bard and etc. I'd rather just live under a rock like Patrick Starr. So yeah, it became one of those things where it's clear that he's focused more on the art, and that's important. And I think everyone should. And get good at your skill, and then when it's time to invest and upgrade into the better tools, then do that. And if you're at a stage in your current journey with whatever you're doing where it's time to upgrade your tools, then you should. You absolutely should. This is great. Dustin says, "Is Patriot Pantry included in the soul prep?" No. You will not hear Waters Above talk about Patriot Pantry. Sorry. Oh man, we've had our fun poking with that. But I do want to say, you know, I don't know anyone who's behind that company. I'm sure they mean well. And I think a lot of the people um, that do that are sponsored by them, I suppose, or that are using them as some sort of referral kickback. If they believe in that product, then that's great. You know, I've kind of come off as like this grumpy old Scrooge when it comes to some of this shit. It's just the preppers are kind of boring to me. It's the same thing with the flat earth people. It's the same thing with any cult. You know, there's nothing wrong with prepping the real way, but I think it's kind of odd, you know, the two things that we made fun of in the past, just because I know people are going to ask about it if you're newer here to Waters Above. But the two things that I'm always point out is one, when you look at what's included in the Patriot Pantry food, it's like dehydrated macaroni and cheese and like just fucking gross junk food. Like it's not stuff that would actually sustain you and give you nutrients. It's dead food. It's not even, you'd be better off fasting. You'd be better off urine looping. You'd be better off doing so many other things. Now, the second thing is that you haven't needed to use any of that garbage, and it's probably starting to expire in your garage somewhere. I remember people getting into this back in like 2017, 2018, thinking about the food shortage, right? It's the day that never comes. And in all of those years, you could have planted your own fucking garden. You could have made your own food in your own soil outside of your house or invested your money in a smarter way. Um, it's just this fear-based truther is consider yourself a work in progress, right? And when you hear people like me say these things, if you're one of those people, don't get offended, don't get triggered, just realize that it's an opportunity for you, you know? But that's what the New World Order wants. The New World Order wants you to think you found some new information that nobody's ever heard before, and it's the secret sauce. And then you start going into fear mode, and then you do all this bullshit that has really nothing to do with your sovereignty or with your conscious expansion. And then you're in a cycle of fear. You're in this weird loop, wondering, is this the month of the food shortage? Is this the month of the food shortage? Is this the month of the food? It's like, don't you realize what they've done to you? And it's a tough pill to swallow. It's the reason why after Neo takes the red pill in the Matrix, he immediately realizes that his reflection looks kind of strange. And then he touches the mirror and the mirror becomes him. It like turns into liquid mercury, which is another theme that you see in many movies. You see it with the Terminator movie. But getting back to Neo, he literally just becomes the mirror. He becomes his own reflection, and then he starts to get like swallowed by it. That's when like the real transmutation work is going on. When you're no longer offended by what's happening, but you're becoming one with what's happening, and you just embrace it full on. I think there's something powerful in that. Spend more energy on realizing that you were protected and that you were always protected by something that is a way larger force than you could ever imagine. And don't get so consumed in the cyclone of fear. It's there for you to put the brake pedal in a moment where you should actually be applying the gas pedal. Keep the momentum, guys. Got a super chat from Breathe the Air In. Breathe the In Air. I feel like I can't ever read your name. Is this a sign that I might be, what do they call it, dyslexic? Okay, it's Breathe In Air. Apologies. You said, well, first of all, thank you for your super chat. I appreciate your support, and I hope you're doing amazing. You said, how do you grind your... Oh, okay. So you are... Okay, beautiful. Yeah, I'll read the whole thing. I see where this is going. You said, how do you grind coffee beans for the AeroPress? Love you so much. I love you too. And then you said, love your expansion mastermind has me living again and getting me out of a long depression. Wow. I love that. I'm really grateful to be a part of your journey. In regards to grinding coffee, there's... let me remember. Because if you want to do it the affordable and high quality way, which is what I always recommend, or you'd have the way that's like a little bit more expensive and makes sense for people who like live in an apartment or a home and they want to make a real investment. So you have like a hand grinder, or you would have a electric grinder. The electric grinder, the sky's the limit, but there's a company out there called Fellow Products. I believe they're from San Francisco or the Bay Area in California. Fellow Products. They make an amazing grinder for coffee. It's not super expensive and it's very, very high quality. Now, I'm not sponsored by them. This isn't anything of that nature, by the way, just for your guys' awareness and transparency. This channel is not sponsored by anybody. No paid promotions, none of that. So whenever I'm saying these sorts of things, it's just I'm vulnerably answering a question. I'm letting you know what I would be doing in the situation. I'll give you some scenarios, some different options, and then you do as you wish. But yeah, Fellow Products grinder is amazing. Baratza is another company that makes some good grinders, but they have their problems. I believe they're a company out of Seattle, but I would go with Fellow if you can afford it. And then as for hand grinders, there's another kind of rabbit hole there where you have really, really expensive shit that's probably a waste of money. And then you have stuff that's super high quality and it's on the affordable side. I'm trying to remember the company though that I recommend. It's something Presso. Zpresso. I don't know, but you could actually get it on Amazon. I'm not sure if you're able to get not that I'm supporting Amazon here, but you can, as a business owner, put your stuff on Amazon and sell it directly that way. So you could support the owner, I'm sure, in a direct way, but I believe the company is like Zpresso, and they're from Korea, and they make amazing hand grinders, like seriously amazing. and that'll be like 100, 200 maybe. If you're already like investing in companies like Say Coffee, this is on the higher end, and you've saved a bunch of money by getting an AeroPress, which is only like 30 or 40 bucks, or if you're in Australia, maybe like 50 bucks. Then yeah, I mean, if you really want to match the quality standards, I would go with a really nice hand grinder. If you're somebody who's a camper, you like to travel a lot, or if you want the home version electric, go with Fellow products. And if you want to get both, then get both. They're both great. I love having a hand grinder personally because if I ever wanted to make coffee on the go, it's easy to with an AeroPress and with a hand grinder and a bag of coffee. And you could get a thermos and just get some hot water from any gas station or whatever on the way. That's what's really great about AeroPress is you don't need boiling water to make the coffee. Lolo Blondo, hope you're having an amazing, amazing night over there in Scotland. Hope your weather's been nice. Oh wow. Dustin actually shared a very interesting tip that very few people know about. So I don't know, maybe Dustin is a coffee professional or has been nerding out lately, but yeah, spritzing coffee beans, it does help. You want to be careful with that though. Um, Sometimes with certain grinders, it's not the most ideal because there's ceramic burrs and then there's different burr sets. So yeah, he's right, but like be careful. Not every hand grinder I would recommend this because I have seen hand grinders that even have plastic burrs or like really hard plastic. And then there are some burr sets that aren't coated that are metal and they can rust. So that's when I would not recommend spritzing the coffee beans. But yeah, he's generally telling you the truth. This is a fucking fantastic tip for the people who are using like the Fellow grinder or there's another amazing grinder that I forgot about. It's another US company, I think, or it's a company from England. I forgot the name. If I remember later, I'll let you know. But it's more on the expensive end. Enough about coffee, right? Jeez. But you could tell over here at Waters Above, we are dedicated to the craft. Whatever it is that we get involved in, it's 110%. Do life at the max. There's too much like how do I say this? And I don't want to rant about this for too long, but you know, fuck it, whatever. Like everyone needs to like stop pussyfooting around with stuff. Okay? Become excellent. Commit to something. You know, a lot of people want success and they want to have like this great reward to come into their life, but they don't do anything to lead to that result. You know, when you pour all your prana into something that you're passionate about, it's really hard to fail. But right now, we have a class of humans that scrolls endlessly for cheap dopamine hits, and you're getting all this attention, you know, separated into all these areas that have nothing to do with your life. Okay. If you're somebody right now who like you're spending all your time on Twitter, sorry, there's like this little, I don't know, chipmunk, little chipmunk outside. That's what we should really talk about chipmunks because who the fuck wants to talk about the election? But, anyways, yeah, getting back on the rails here. If you're one of these people that's like defending, you know, what politician you support on Twitter all day, like it's going to be hard to excel at life. You know, I'm just letting you know now. You need to save yourself from doing that. You need to like put the dog leash around your own neck sometimes and be like, "Come here, boy. Lasso yourself." All right. Now I get it. Some of you out there might be journalists. You might be people that need to surf the web all day. Great. At least you're doing something with your research. Transmute, guys. Become architects. That's powerful shit. Don't just be a mindless consumer. You know, we need consumers, but we don't want to be full blown consumer mode 100% of the time. We need balance. You must do both in order to feel life. Otherwise, you'll feel nothing. You'll be numb. And that's what the New World Order wants. They want you outside of yourself, giving all your energy to this bullshit that's happening on the world stage and not preserving it to create. It's time to create. Yeah, that's right. Gently caress that like button. Carmen Alexandra, let's get spicy as always. Apologies, there's this very loud fly in the room. You might hear it buzzing in the background. Gave coconut water to the like button. Please, if everyone could just take 1 second and hydrate that like button. Can you softly hydrate the like button for me, please? Thank you. David Sanchez, hope you're doing amazing, brother. DeFi Daddy says Matrix thugging me up, man. Never the case. The Matrix is here to remind you of what you are here to do. That's all. And it will bring you these things called detours. It'll bring you what you call problems. It'll bring you agony. It'll bring you suffering. It'll bring you all of that. But it's to make you better. You are the Matrix. You came here to learn what you are, to remember who you are. And I am not teaching you anything. I am part of the reminder. You're reminding me of what I need to remind you. It's a beautiful relationship. There's nothing to blame here. Vancouver Island, over in Canada. I'm not sure where that is, but I would love to go because it sounds like it's awesome. I've been seeing so much beautiful pictures of Canada and like drone footage videos like this of Canada, and it seems, wow, seems amazing. There's parts that like full on look like Switzerland. Ben says, does being born on a 28 life path number like Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, Elon Musk have a huge impact on wealth? Well, first of all, Ben, a couple things to clear up. Life path number can't be 28. It would be reduced down to 1 because 2 plus 8 brings you back to 1. And life path numbers can't be past 10 unless they're master numbers, which would be 11, 22, and 33. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of life path numbers. No offense. It's not like I'm saying they're wrong. But the issue that I have with life path is that it's the most exoteric version of what we call numerology. And a majority of the time, it's only considering the Gregorian system, which I talk a lot about in my work. For instance, just to give you a quick explanation, we have October 26th is today, right? You would call October the 10th month, but octo, the prefix in Latin, means 8. Like an octagon has 8 sides, but yet we're calling it the 10th month. Now, if you take 10 plus 26, you're going to have a different outcome than 8 plus 26, of course, naturally. Now you would have a discrepancy when you reduce that down into what you call a life path number. So if you were born in October 26th of 1977, well, if you've been considering October as the 10th month, then you're 2 numbers above what the number might actually be. Now, I'm not going to refute the entire system that we've all been spellcasted under and have to abide by. It is what it is at the end of the day, right? But with that being said, that's the truth. Yeah. So, anyways, a couple things were cleared up there. First and foremost, a life path number can't be a 28. It could be a 33 or a 22 or an 11, but typically there are numbers that are from 1 to 9 when most people talk about life path. Um, but you are bringing up something that is a synchronicity between Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, Elon Musk, etc. And now some people would like to use double digit date numerology, which I'm a huge fan of, and that would not be life path. That would be different. So again, clearing up some more things here. The 28 is an incredibly powerful number because it's the number of the cycle from new moon to full moon and then full moon to new moon again. This is tied back to the story of Osiris, where he was cut into 14 pieces and every piece was found except for his phallus. And that phallus becomes what's put all around our realm at these key places like the Vatican, the city of London, Washington, D.C., with what's called the Washington Monument. And then you have it in Buenos Aires, you have it in Melbourne, Australia. I mean, pretty much every city, every major city in the world has these obelisks. You also have them in uh, Cleopatra's Needle in London, and then you also have one in New York. So all of them are always in Egyptian aesthetic. And that 14 number, again, you double it, and then you end up with our month, not a month. It's a month. So 28 days in a month. This is a symbol of a full cycle. That's why I think the power's there. And what do we call the currency? We call it money, right? Like month, like Monday, right? So that's where that is coming back to again. Also, you could look at it as two eights, and this would be the concept of the path of the sun, the analemma, the figure eight pattern. Also, that would be the infinity symbol. So there's a lot of many areas we can go, but I do think there's a synchronicity between the number 28 and wealth. Although I think the systems that we've used to get these numbers for Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, Elon, and many others, like I think Carlos Slim is one of them, that telecommunications guy in Mexico. It's just one of many, many things. Anyone who's into astrology, if you pull up the birth charts of any of those individuals, you'll definitely see other signs, right? So, yeah, I hope that helps, brother, and appreciate your support. Kaisa, much love from Switzerland. Appreciate you. Sending lots of love. And over to Copenhagen, one of my favorite cities. And yeah, just to get it out of the way, this new Black Moon Decoded that I'm releasing in less than a week on November 1st, it will be ahead of the election. And I know everyone wants to know my take on the election. I've already pre decoded it in a Red Pill podcast dedicated to the US election, but I will be adding kind of a presentation style to the start of that Black Moon Decoded with regards to the US election and how I see things going for that. So I will thoroughly be decoding the election so you don't have to. So we could protect our prana. The one thing is I love to decode. I could decode fucking anything. I'm excited when I do it. So I found some amazing connections for this particular election, tying it into my thorough decoding system. So I'll be, getting that out of the way within that decode as well. Also talking about how I see the rest of this Q4 going with the FOMC meeting the following day, and then how we don't have another FOMC until after the Black Moon month, leading into the next Chinese New Year. So you could consider that this Black Moon Decoded is kind of like a part one to what will become my full year of the Snake Decoded, which I'll be having ready for January. So that new podcast will be available at patreon.com/watersabove for the Mastermind community. I will have it available on November 1st, which is next Friday. So it's coming very soon. I appreciate any of your support for those that join over there. It really means the world to me. And I'm going to make sure to knock this one out of the park. It's going to have some incredible connections and, of course, going to be focused on the markets because we're trying to decode the markets here at the end of the day. The thing like the election is just one piece of the puzzle. Try to get people to realize that. There's many things happening. There's many things happening on the world stage that will be covered in that decode. And ultimately, giving people more clarity on this month of December, which will be very, very important for specifically crypto investors. So I'm excited to cover that. I will be covering the election in it. I will be covering um, markets as a whole, some thoughts on gold, perhaps, because I know a lot of people are interested in this breakout in gold, which we did talk about back about a year. Oh, yeah, full year from today. I think my first gold investment was October 6th or like 5th. It was like literally days before we had that event in Israel. It was crazy. I don't remember which red pill it was, but I put about 10% of my net worth into physical gold leading into that correction. And then we had the black swan with Israel declaring war against Hamas. Then we watched gold just continue up from there. So it was probably one of the most dialed in plays that I have. And it happens to be on one of the slowest performing assets. And it's actually been an amazing balance in my overall portfolio for some altcoins that are heavily down because I do have a venture capital play, uh, a venture capital bag, many venture capital plays, and they're all over the place. And that's to be expected because we don't really see those perform until we have what's called an alt season. And speaking of which, for anyone who joins the Patreon membership, that new podcast, What I'm Investing in Special, I just released last weekend. So you'd be getting access to that and you could review that whole podcast, telling you every single project that I'm personally invested in, my investment thesis on those projects. I go over my entire portfolio. So it's like 25 total charts. And then I get into my thoughts on how it will be for the alt season. You know, what are the confirmations that I'm looking for, the exact numbers and the exact timing of it all. So it's very, very important podcast and it's packed with value. I mean, I think it's almost 2 hours long too. So definitely something you can get into. And then I have tomorrow a new Red Pill podcast coming out. And then next week I'll have this Black Moon Decoded. So anyone who's joining over on Patreon, you're getting an insane amount of value. And I really appreciate all of your support. And of course, we have this Discord community where we're all hanging out, chatting with each other. I'm active over there as well. So it's been amazing to see everyone's decodes and just watch the demeanor and the way that we've been handling all these big events that have been happening on the world stage. Like, incredible to see the difference between the last bull run and this one. You know, at the beginning, kind of just figuring out what was going on in regards to like our community and how we were going to handle these big events on the world stage. And there was volatility. There was people that would wig out once in a while. They're uncertain, they're nervous, whatever. But like now it's like everyone is super chill. It's amazing. It's like that meme where you have the guy sitting in the room that's on fire and he's like, that's fine. that's that's our community. It's really amazing to see. No matter what's going on, there's just this sense of calm demeanor and everyone is there helping each other. Like, we're actually trying to make change, not just like a big circle of arguing and debating and saying who's right and who's wrong. Like, that doesn't even exist for us. So it's really this rare thing that's happening on the internet. And I'm really grateful to be a part of it with you guys. Just looking through some of the chat. Got about 620 people hanging out with us. Appreciate every single one of you. Got a super chat from Lee Moore. Appreciate your support, brother. You said, been doing ecom past year, provided me the freedom to do most of the things I want to do. Why did you quit ecom? And how did you transition to crypto? Oh, that's dope. You must be kind of somebody who's been following for a while now. Because I'm not sure how much I've talked about this, but I did talk about this a lot in the early days, how I was doing e-commerce. I could just give you the quick story and I could let you know. But the short answer, like, what do they call it? The TLDR, is that C19 happened. So I was doing e-com successfully with about 3 active stores. I worked with an agency to scale it. So I was hiring somebody to work alongside me that was a specialist in the things that I wasn't personally too savvy with, but they were a mentor in a way. So I learned a lot in the process, which I recommend everybody do, by the way. It's a big reason that Waters Above University, the idea of that came to life because I was thinking about my experience working with that agency back in 2019, 2018, and it's something that I want to offer the world. You know, how can I be more useful in that way so that it's beyond just what's happening in the markets? We can make businesses together. So that's what Waters Above University is all about. And that's launching in January. But getting back to this, I worked with an agency. We had everything going really, really well. Ad accounts were doing really well. ROAS was doing well. I mean, everything was doing well. Then C19 happened, and you could imagine all the packages were delayed. The whole system was bedlam, and nobody was getting their stuff. So I made the executive decision, like, I need to end this. You know, it was like ripping the band-aid off kind of a moment. And to be completely honest with you, Lemore, it was very scary for me to do that because I had no job. I started an e-commerce business that did well with a job, and then one day, I remember this vividly. I was living in Melbourne, Australia for a little bit, and I walked past this one brewery, and on the side of the wall it said, "Quit your job," like spray painted into the wall. And the next day that I went to work, I quit my job. It was so stupid. Like, if you're listening to me right now, don't this should not inspire you. But I put in my 2 weeks, and my boss was like, how about this will just be your last shift?" And I was like, "Okay, sure." So, like, I basically did not have any income after that shift, and I had to make that decision of, like, what the fuck am I gonna do, you know? This would probably be a cool story to, like, make a short form video on, 'cause, I think a lot of people wanna know what's the process of going from, like, one thing to the next, and, you know, you're clearly asking this question. But to make the long story short, I quit that job. I started taking the e-com thing a little bit more seriously because it felt like it was the only opportunity I had. Meanwhile, I was studying crypto in the background. I was studying investing in the background, and I was also studying the Federal Reserve and like monetary policy and what was going on with admiralty and maritime commerce law and just everything I possibly could about money. You know, I really wanted to master money, understand it better, understand the human relationship with money and why certain people prosper and why certain people don't, and beyond the code of life, how to have a more healthy relationship with currency, right? And from a spiritual perspective. And I'm sure that's why you gravitated towards me. So the ecom thing was just like a random chaos in my life that I went and committed to. Like I said earlier, do everything at 110%. There's no need to be pussyfooting around with anything that you do. Like, do it excellently. And that requires you to commit. So I committed to ecom. I committed to this agency I was working with. And we got some really good results after about 2 months. But on month two, I started running out of money to invest in the agency. It was really like a Hail Mary pass. You know, I was like, I had to make the decision, like, do I try to get another job real quick? Do I give up my little bit of life savings to this agency and hope that our store takes off? Or do I just scrap all of this and try a whole brand new idea and start over from zero? Or do I do the ultra responsible yet really not entrepreneurial decision of going back to the States, like just quitting altogether, right? And one thing that you'll learn about me is I do not fucking quit. I don't. Nothing, failure does not exist in my reality. So I just went with the Hail Mary pass because I'm like, we have to win. There is no losing in my world. So went with it, and it ended up taking off that month. And it was like really the last month that I could afford to do that agency. And then that store scaled into a second store, scaled into a third, and then C19 happened. Yay. Shout out to Wuhan, my homies. So yeah, the whole project went to dust because everyone was putting bad reviews, and I can't blame them. You know, I can't blame any of the reason why it all went bad. But you know what's funny, guys? And I've told this story before. I knew C19 was happening likely before most people because I had access directly to China. And they were already implementing lockdowns in some of the factories like 2 to 3 months before the global lockdown. So before the March 11th situation in 2020. I was already talking to people, because we've scaled our store so much. I was starting to get in direct contact with not just distributors, but like people who are running factories. And dudes were working there were actually quite young. Like there was people that were like in their 20s, 25, 27, and they could speak English. And they were like, "Yo, this is not good. Like this is all going to shut down." And they wanted to warn us before we started putting in too many orders and before, cuz that's what a responsible businessman would do. So, long story short is I knew about C-19 like 3 months before it happened, and I remember hitting up my mom and being like, "Hey, the world's gonna shut down," and she was like, "Shut up." She's like, What are you saying?" And then February rolls around, things start heating up, and people start learning about this thing, this fake virus. And then, one thing led to the next, and actually what's quite funny about that whole thing is I went with my intuition and realized that a lot of people that I told the world would lock down to did not believe me. Those were the same people that did not believe me when I told them to invest in crypto. And then what happened was the crypto market recovered, it started taking off, and a lot of people remembered that I was calling for that global lockdown that changed our world. So they started to trust me a little bit more. And those were the people that ended up becoming my first couple clients, of which I created my crypto mastermind for. And I wasn't even planning on making a YouTube channel. So they were the ones that kind of helped me try out that idea. And I'm glad that I did. And it wasn't many people, but I got to a point where I was like working with maybe 20, 15 to 20 people directly with consulting, helping them with finance and managing portfolios, making investment decisions. And it was because they were trusting that I had some awareness of what was going on in the world stage. And all in the while, I was developing my own decoding system. So, yeah, that's pretty much the story. Um, I quit it because it wasn't sensible to do at the time. I transitioned into doing crypto, I believe, at the perfect time because I know that if I did not do the ecom thing, I would have been buying some of the worst time of the uh, kind of automatic rally phase of 2019. That was not smart. A lot of people bought that. Yeah. And it was really felt like a crazy rug pull for the C-19 experience. So long and short of things, one thing led to me learning Wyckoff method, and that was what like kind of told me that something's above me protecting me. There's something out there protecting me because I could have made so many bad decisions with that little bit of capital that I had, but it seems to be that it was perfectly um, unfolding, and I was listening to my intuition the whole time. But it was tough. There were so many moments when I was doing those things where I was like, I don't know what to do. I'm confused. Should I do this? Should I do that?" And there was probably something a lot larger than all of us at that time. Could be the astrology, it could be many things. But there was that essence for all of us. We were all quite uncertain. What do I do? And those are the moments where we want to be tapped into our intuition because your intuition is God. Your intuition is getting you to where you gotta go. It's protecting you. It's keeping you on time, you know? And I've lived through enough of those big moments, those big aha moments, those paradigm shifting moments to realize that that's a truth. It might not be your truth, but it's absolutely mine. And I have the current state I'm at right now, the current, state of awareness and consciousness and access to so many people because I listen to my intuition. I didn't fall for the trends. I didn't fall for the O face thumbnail bullshit. I'm staying away from all of that as far as possible because I believe we must create honorably. And there was something about ecom that I did not feel honorable about. There were so many things in that business model that I realized like, oh, as I went and shifted from ignorance into knowing, I knew that that wasn't a long-term commitment for me. And I had to be real with myself and I had to move accordingly. You know, the one thing that I really do pride myself on, if anything, is that I need to feel pure in what I'm doing. That's important because I am a firm believer that if you create just for the sake of it and to get likes and follows and to impress people, then the return of the currency that you get back will be coal. It will not be a present. We're speaking, this is deep right here, okay? You need to put love and passion into whatever you do. You should not be creating purely through the desire to impress others or to make people think you're smart or to make people think that you're better than them or that you have something that they don't have. To me, that's all nonsense. That's why I always say we're just reminding each other here. This is a process of remembering. I'm remembering so much, and I think everything is coded. I think I needed to meet the agency that I met. I needed to have the job that I had, and that one time to know that I would walk past that one building that said quit your job, to then get the immediate answer that you're able to quit today and never show up again. That was my last fucking day at work. I mean, all the signs are there, guys. God is all around you. It's, do you want to do you want to pay attention to it? When God calls, do you want to answer that call? I got a super chat from Mead Valley Dave. Appreciate you, brother. You said I cut a tendon in my pinky 4 months ago. I had a surgery. It was healed, but stuff feels stiff. I can't make a full fit. Ooh, okay. What do you recommend to help with that? Mm. You know, this might seem a little like witchcraft, but I've heard castor oil has made quite a dramatic impact on people going through those sorts of things. So you could consider that. Um, Twice a day, just massage some really high quality organic castor oil, hopefully made in a place where you know it was made, not some overseas random, proprietary blend. So just try to find the highest quality castor oil you can get, and just massage your hands with it a couple times a day, definitely before you go to sleep. Another thing that'd be very helpful is before you go to sleep, you could put castor oil in your belly button, or you could put coconut oil in your belly button. Just rub it around the belly button. I know it sounds weird, but it's things that are practiced in Ayurveda for allegedly thousands of years. But I myself have practiced some of these things, and I've realized that your body needs to access and unlock these oils in a way that's not just through consumption directly orally. And the belly button trick is incredible, and people have had amazing experiences with topical use of castor oil. So give that a try. And then another thing would just be overall hydration. Like, you need to get rehydrated, and that would require you to get more focused on the type of water you drink. Should definitely switch to distilled water, and then focus on high quality, raw, in season, high water content fruits, and then maybe some minerals. Some, like, don't go crazy, but consider liquid magnesium and give those things a try. See how they work. The one thing though, Dave, is if you don't use it, you lose it. So I do think you need to get maybe a little deeper into the rehab type stuff for people that have experienced what you've experienced. I wouldn't be shocked if the doctor that gave you this, that performed the surgery on you, has some insights into this. Like, you need to move and flex the fingers. Otherwise, this problem will just become, the new way. And crazy enough, a lot of things are going on in the mind. You know, the mind is what's running this whole thing, because you're jacked into the simulacrum through your central nervous system. So consider that, and try those tips out. Sending healing energy your way. Warrior Bones, I appreciate your super chat. You said, is it safe to have your money in a traditional bank? Is it safe to have your crypto in a Coinbase wallet? I appreciate your weekly live streams. Like, I think there's a little too much fear porn around these particular questions. not that I believe that you shouldn't be prepared and you shouldn't have a plan B, but it's like how many years have gone by where people are like, "Don't keep your money in the bank," and then yeah. I mean, I get it, right? There's gonna be problems in the banking system, but there always has been. It's not like this is a new phenomenon. The bank is the bank, right? Like, we've awakened to these things, and hence we're asking these questions. So, if you don't feel right keeping your money in the bank, then you'll never feel right keeping your money in the bank. What does it matter what I think? And if I was to tell you that it's safe to keep your money in the bank, I don't know what bank you use, bro. Like, there needs to be some context here. Are you using a local regional bank? Well, guess what? If we're going to have a liquidity crisis and issues with lending, your bank's going away. And then the people that are like JP Morgan's going away or Bank of America's going away, it's like, well, you haven't studied the New World Order. You got to study the New World Order. You have to study who runs the system. All right. The concept too big to fail is just like a psyop in many ways, but there is truth to it. All right. But getting back on the rails here regarding crypto, it's always advised to self custody. Get your own hardware wallet. My take on hardware wallets is they're all more alike than they are different. The flaws that every one of them has flaws. I personally use the Ledger Nano X. I don't think it's the best. I am not sponsored by Ledger. I am not promoting their product or selling any referral link to you. But if to be 100% transparent, that's what I use, and I have yet to have a problem in the however many years I've been doing this. So yeah, I hope that helps. And the only words of wisdom I could give about Coinbase is, or sorry, about Ledger is make sure if you are to buy a hardware wallet from them or anywhere else that you make sure that it is a direct purchase on their official website. Do not buy it from a third party retailer. Okay, that's a really easy way to get hacked. And as for Coinbase and Coinbase Wallet, every exchange is more alike than they are different. They all have flaws. Okay, there's no perfect exchange, but I do use Coinbase. What I recommend to people, if you can, if you have an LLC or you're incorporated, I don't know if Soul Props can do this, but go for enterprise crypto accounts. Okay, this is going to be a big thing that we harp on in the in Waters Above University. So yeah, definitely consider getting hip to what I just said with that. That could be helpful. And outside of that, always diversify across different platforms and different exchanges and different hardware wallets if you're somebody who cares to do so. Just spend a lot of time on learning about security and how to use 2FA, and don't ever use your cell phone number for 2FA. That's a rookie mistake. I actually, Warrior Bones, I teach all of this in depth in my crypto mastermind course. And I appreciate your support, brother. I hope you're having a beautiful weekend. Super chat from, no, not super chat, excuse me. I'm wearing these blue blocking glasses right now and everything looks so trippy. And because Logan's logo is like neon red, it looks crazy right now. Anyways, shout out to Decoded Reality, whom I believe is the best decoder alive. So you have it. The man's in the house. He said James Metcalf Campbell Bauer. Is that the whole name? Mamma mia. I'm so glad my mom didn't give me like 7 names. Like, who does this to their children? Anyways, he says James Bauer is the actor who played Vecna. His birthday is not only 11/22, but the same birth card that Jack Hart's as Helmet the Architect in The Matrix. All right. Okay. Really crazy stuff. What's the birth card? I would be interested. Iona Rose says, I love your talks. Much appreciated. Could you explain how you came to Waters Above for your channel name? Sure. Yeah, it comes from the book of Genesis, mentioned very early on, first couple lines. I believe it's line number 7 and 6 mentions the separation of the waters below from the waters above, and how the waters above is the firmament and the firmament is heaven. So my channel literally means the heavenly spirit realm. Uh, and yeah, I got that from actually studying Operation Paperclip, funny enough. So I studied Operation Paperclip, and then I found out about all these player characters that I was learning about in the National Socialists. Of course, that's the story. And this Warner von Braun character is very important because he was heading the lunar landings, the Apollo missions. Anyways, he has since passed away, and his tombstone has the Bible verse on it that talks about that the firmament showeth God's handiwork. So it brings up this firmament, and that's very controversial because you can't really have this idea of outer space or space exploration or definitely landing on the moon, which he was heading the missions of, if you had a firmament. So we have a problem here, but it's like the ultimate Illuminati flex, to like go out and then make your tombstone have this Bible verse on it and then make people have to go look up what that Bible verse is. Like it's so cryptic and kind of like villain like that I actually kind of like it. I think it's awesome. So it led it to me getting into decoding the Bible a little bit more seriously, you know? Not that I'm against it, but it's become a big piece of my work in my decoding mastermind now, of decoding parts of the Bible. Um, Anywho, yeah, believe that answers. Oh, there we go. Decode Your Reality said Jason's last podcast. He's now using a great microphone. Okay, amazing. We've made some progress here. Beautiful. Yeah, that's what I thought. I think it's good. It's good to joke. Oz asks, "Who is the sponsor of today?" Um, Folgers Coffee, the astronomical clock in Prague, Czech Republic. Uh, Beavers. Let's find a picture of a beaver. Isn't it funny to go look up a picture of an animal? Oh my god, these guys are the goat. Look at this thing. One second. Like, what made this thing, dude? This little beast is the sponsor of today's live stream, for sure. No doubt about it. We're having fun. Breathe in, breathe out. Got a super chat from Enigomo Esotaria Occulta. That's a cool name. You said this comes from the Deku tree mouth. Bilbo found the ring. The hero of time has come. The Schrodinger cat was what? What am I reading? I don't speak Spanish. Baxter. I don't know what you're talking about, but appreciate you. Bilbo? Who's Bilbo? Am I missing something here? I'm gonna have to look up some of these terms. Bilbo. Oh, this is from the Lord Lord of the Ring. I've never watched the Lord of the Rings. Should I? I've watched, like, parts of it, okay? Like, clearly not enough to know what the hell you're talking about. I'm clearly not a full-blown nerd, but I appreciate your support. I'm not really sure what's going on here, though. Hobbit. His race? What's your race? When people ask me what my race is, I'm gonna say I'm a hobbit. What's your what's your gender? I'm a hobbit. Uh, what genitalia does a hobbit have? Are those the original hermaphrodites? Okay. Clearly the beaver made me do it. Oh no. Crypto Billy 111, I hope you're joking. I know that you're a homie. We're homies. But please never drink McDonald's coffee. From me. Just do me a favor. Please. Save uh save your kidneys. Zeneb, I appreciate your kind words. Looking through the chat, got about 600 people hanging out with us. I hope you're having an amazing Saturn day. Make sure to put any questions in all caps. That helps. That's right, Titanium Shakespeare. You are the Matrix. You're the architect. You made this place to put your body, which is Neo, through the game. And you all know why you play the game. There's a reason for it. It's to get better. It's to beat it faster. It's to beat it without losing as much coin. It's to earn as much coin as possible. Have you guys ever played Sonic the Hedgehog? That's life. Speaking of Lord of the Rings, have you guys ever put that one together? This fly has just been flying directly into a glass wall over and over and over again. In Slavic culture, New Year starts in March, so it makes October 8th month. Yeah, that would be the way that I would look at things. That's what we've been teaching here. But that would not be the truth, in my opinion, for people who live in like Australia and New Zealand. I believe it should be a different system. It should be looked at differently. That's right. Welcome to the jungle. This is pretty funny. I'm not going to entertain this too much, but Raphael asks price prediction for Bitcoin in 2028. Well, have you looked at stock to flow for 2025? It's pretty nuts. It like goes up to $400,000. But the bigger question here is what's the economy going to be like in 2028? That's around the next Shemitah year. I think we'll have way more things that'll be important than whatever Bitcoin is doing in 2028. Like we're talking about, I will say it right here. I think by next year, and you guys can quote me on this, by next year, you will start to get the taste of what singularity is. And by 2026, we will have whatever the hell that is. Okay. The exoteric concept. Like, are you ready for that? Big thing to consider here is that how many people became like Uber and Lyft drivers during the C19 event? Or perhaps if you're in Europe, things like Bolt or, these kind of gig jobs where you're in an Uber like, you know, business model. Phone app, ride, share, food delivery service stuff. And then we don't even have to get into the OnlyFans thing because that's a whole other part of the conversation on the other polarity. But now that we have this in our minds, just consider that what Elon showed us recently with these robo taxis, there's at least 2 to 3 companies that are already, I know for a fact there is a company doing this in the US. I believe it's in Phoenix. It operates in maybe parts of Arizona. I don't know their whole uh, how far they've branched. They could have some self-driving taxis in Texas, but I don't know. So I'm not trying to go that route, but I do know there's a real company that already does it and it operates in Phoenix, Arizona. Now, that's not been a big threat, right? But people are using it more and more year after year since it's launched. When Elon does it in that fucking thing that he just showed us that looks like it has like the Lambo doors, people are going to go nuts, dude. Everyone's going to want to ride in that thing. People are going to choose to ride in that over choosing to ride with a human. And that, even if that was only done 10% of the time, that's still 10% less jobs for the people that are humans that are in that career path, in that contractor path. I don't even know what to call it, right? And there's nothing wrong if you're somebody who's doing any of this right now, but I hope that you're waking up that this is temporary. You can't be doing this as your long-term vision. You need to look at it as a stepping stone for something that is a little bit more in your hands, right? It's great to become an entrepreneur and to start making money on your own time, but just look at it as a stepping stone because this thing will get replaced very, very soon. I'm not trying to give any fear porn right now or try to scare anyone. It's just the inevitable. It's the way things are headed. It's the post C19 world where artificial intelligence and robotics will become more and more household and it'll become more and more accepted. And there's already companies that are doing, bipedal humanoid like robots that can be put into homes. And Elon also showed us at the same exact time of showing us the robo taxi, he showed us these Tesla robots. This is what they're doing, guys. Like, we're there. So that's probably ready to launch by before 2026, I believe. Meaning, this is not a whole lot of time left. They're going to start pilot testing this stuff heavily probably next year with the year of the snake, especially if US goes into war, which I'm believing will happen because of the synchronicity between the year of the snake and the US going to war. And we know that there's this war unraveling on the world stage, getting more and more countries involved. Turkey's even been more involved lately. And I brought that up way in advance to expect that next. And then also Egypt is to be expected next. And this is just going to make it impossible for the US to not enter. And even China has started getting involved. At a higher level. Russia's definitely going to get more involved. So this World War III thing is a thing. It's done. It's here and it's going to get to the worst years in 2025 and 2026, and I think 2026 will be the absolute worst year, where we'll probably see things that are similar to what happened in World War II in 1942. Um, we're talking like mass deportation, use of internment camps, which I believe that will definitely be utilized in the States for all these migrants that have come here. Remember, the New World Order does not care about anybody. They're just playing chess. They're here putting people in their places and seeing how we pass or fail the experiment. So I'm just saying it here, doing gig work like that, like Uber is you're failing the experiment early. And it's time to don't get triggered by what I just said. If you're getting triggered by that, then you can't be shown the light here. Like you have a temporary opportunity right now. That's all. The writing's on the wall. It's time to see things clearly, take off the rose colored glasses or whatever they say. And again, this is not to inject fear into you. This is to just make you see shit before it gets to a place where there won't be a rewind button. You won't be able to get a second chance. I think that's really important for people to keep in mind. And it's one of many things that will unfold over the next couple of years. What's coming in 2028 is so far ahead, and the speed of the advancements in this artificial intelligence stuff that we've been given directly as the public. Remember how much it took off from just 2023 into 2024, guys, with things like ChatGPT and OpenAI and Gemini and Bard, which I believe became Gemini, right? So like it's just the Pandora's box is blown wide open. We have so many things unraveling. And I want you guys to be clear on what your vision is right now. Because if you don't have a clear vision, then you won't know where you're going. And I think this is an important discussion to have today. Very few people want to have it because a lot of people think that these gig jobs that have been invented are here to stay. And I'm here to let you know that no. Truck driving jobs will be reduced heavily. Also, even jobs like being a therapist. We saw NVIDIA and also a couple of these other technocratic companies showing you that the new age therapist will just be an AI bot. It'll just be AI. It will look so lifelike on the screen. You will do your therapy session on an iPad, which a lot of people are even doing now with these services like BetterHelp. Bro, it's going to get so spicy in 2025 into 2026. Humans are going to be like, there's going to be narratives going on where there will be the question of what is the value of a human anymore. Now, I know for you guys, for the people that are tuning into this, like, I get it. You're probably already in somewhat of a branch off reality, right? I know what that's like. It's been fucking super obvious since 2020. I don't resonate with the populace or am a part of the circus anymore. So I'm way ahead of the game, right? But not everyone's in that same position. And you have to make that position come to fruition. Otherwise, you're just going to be on the wrong end of it, And this is not going to be as easy as it was with C19. Like C19 was easy, guys, because everything was on a discount. They gave you the opportunity of a lifetime to get invested. They gave you stimulus checks and they just told you to stay at fucking home. All right? This next one's going to be so much different. So much different. And you're going to see more civil unrest, more hyperinflation, and more of the ramifications of this war that's going on. Displacement of people. I think I heard Tim Dillon say this, and for once I agreed with a comedian more than I agreed with like 99% of so-called truthers and people who are apparently in the know. And it's that the number one problem on the world stage today and what we're heading into over the next couple of years will be displacement of people. So like just mass migration and the ramifications of having cultures mix in a way that we've never had to experience it before with the modern technologies that we have in front of us and that we're all using. So that's going to be big. And I mean, everything that's going on in Palestine and also in Syria and in Lebanon lately, this is causing so many people to have to get out of those countries. And where are they going to go? Think about this. This is all part of the New World Order chess game. That's why they're distracting us with that's why they decided to do all of this war shit so heavily during the main election year, because they know that that's going to bring the frequency so low to such a place where it's tough to perform. You know, imagine you guys were football players, right? You're football players, and it's really heavily raining outside. So the field is super slippery. All right. That's what's going on right now. We're all football players trying to score the goal, but we have a fucking slippery field and it's pouring raining. So if you did well in 2024, congratulations. Like, you're a hero. This was a tough year to get through, especially on a psychological level. And the market's been all over the place. 2020, 2020, early 2024, this year was not the year to invest, or it was not the time to invest. Everything was super up then, right? In regards to the crypto market. Now we've had 70% corrections across the board in these altcoins. So this has been a tough year to navigate. And hopefully, with what we're doing here at Waters Above, there's been some clarity. There's been some, a new vision forming, because this is, again, just a stepping stone like any other year. It was needed. It was necessary. Hopefully there was growing done. Hopefully you didn't avoid the lessons that were presented to you and you learned. I know I learned a lot. I am by no means complete. I love the process of learning. I love allowing more gnosis into my reality tunnel. I'm a fan of growth and expansion. So for me, it was an amazing year. And I think one of the biggest reasons for that is because every time that I got discouraged or any time that I felt uncertain, you know what I did? I created more. And I'm not just talking about stuff I do here at Waters Above. I'm talking about music that I make. All the things that I could possibly create, I would just channel that uncertainty and that fear, and I would put it into the art. And that's one of the biggest techniques that I've learned over the years to master these moments where the frequency on this planet is low. Again, as I said at the very beginning of this, be the light that shines through the darkness. I got a super chat from Milk Lord XRP, sending you lots of love, bro. You said, do you have any advice on what to do about a herniated disc? In my mid 30s and in shape, but roofing has taken its toll. Yo, shout out to you, man, being a roofer. That's one of those jobs, excuse me. That's one of those jobs I do not see going away for a while. Also, like the people that have to get into like crawl spaces under basements and shit. Yeah, it's going to take some time for a robot to be able to do that. But, you sacrificed your body for this career and you would rather avoid surgery and further damage. I completely understand. Probably the best thing to do in this situation is consider something like yoga and go with a teacher that is aware of your exact thing that you're working through. And you need to become more flexible. You need to move the body, and that might be initially uncomfortable. And by the way, I myself do not do yoga, so it's not like I can give you some direct resource to it. I've seen some amazing transformations for people that have horrible knees, ankles, lower back, shoulder problems, all of these injuries that we've seen manifest in the modern times and have very little so-called cure for besides surgery. So you're hip to this, hence the question. But I would consider that, get a little bit more connected with people who might have some awareness on how you could become more flexible. And yoga typically seems to be the path. Just don't join some crazy yoga cult, you know. Protect your prana, brother. I know you know this more than anyone. But yeah, that's one thing to consider. And I don't want to speak too out of turn here because I don't have enough awareness on the art form, but I have seen and experienced a little bit of a miracle of something called Shindo. So you could look into that too. I do think those stretches and exercises that they do and the massages that they do are insane. And the power of that I felt firsthand is amazing. I just don't know enough about it to speak on it. So again, it's like the yoga thing. Um, but I gave you two things to look into that could be pretty helpful. I got a super chat from Crypto Billy 111. I appreciate you, brother. Hope you're having an amazing weekend. It's a very generous super chat of you. You said, I would love to have you on our X space. Won't shill here. I'm personal friends with Frankie Candles, Liffer, Miss Teen, Crypto, Rice, etc. If you need references, I love your work and I think your community would love it. Much love. Yeah, brother. How about you reach out to my support email and we'll see what we can do. I do believe I might have some availability in December, but between now and December, I'm 100% booked up. It's pretty much impossible for me to do anything. As I talked about earlier, I have coming out next week my first full presentation decode that I've released of the year since my year of the snake decoded back in, what was that, the beginning of February. So I've really narrowed down my focus onto only a few very vital things this year. And this upcoming decode is one of them. Then I have, we're going through this election cycle. I have a lot of stuff prepared for November. Then we have the Trinity Masterclass, which I plan to have released also next month in November. That's been taking up a lot of time behind the scenes. If anyone's not aware, the Decoding Mastermind course has these installments of the perception mastery, then duality masterclass, then the crypto decoding blueprint, and then the fourth installment will be the Trinity masterclass. So it'll have four full installments in it. It's probably going to be like one of the biggest courses I've ever created. And anyone who joins that course is locked in on the price to any new installments that I add. So for the people that got in the early days, they were locked in on the price and they'll be getting that new material. No further action needed. It'll just be automatically added to your crypto, to the decoding mastermind course. Plan to have that ready next month. But that's been taking up a lot of time. So I've been actually saying no to a ton of interview requests and podcast requests. I snuck in this Archaics and Decode Your Reality one because it seemed like it was time sensitive and it needed to happen. So outside of that, probably can do something maybe in December, if not in January, but just hit me up. And really grateful for all of your support. And I'm sure by then we'll have a lot to talk about because there's so much I'm anticipating for the month of November. Just looking through the chat a little bit. Got about a half an hour more to hang out with y'all. Driven says we were put here to create, but also put here to destroy. See, this Shiva dynamic is powerful stuff. And in the movie Star Wars, in the Star Wars saga, you have Anakin Skywalker, that's Anu, Skyfather, that's Anu. This is very powerful stuff because you know that Anu or Anakin goes from the light side as the chosen one to the dark side and becomes Lord Vader. And he's still at the end of the day subordinate to the Emperor Palpatine. And what's Palpatine's first name? It's Shiva, the destroyer. We must have destruction to have creation because destruction is a form of creation. Perhaps you've seen Donnie Darko. So yes, we were put here to create, but we were also here to transmute. We are here to take dust and turn it into life and then watch it turn back into dust again. That's the beauty of this reality. It is not just one way. Hail Metallica, I appreciate you sending lots of love. 18 months YouTube membership. Mama me. Really grateful for all of your support. You say, can you talk about your truths about can you talk about your thoughts? Okay. I'm reading a little too fast. You said, can you read about your thoughts about scripted reality and how that factors in with the rulers of this realm? Or are they also just playing a role? Yes. My truth is that we are in a scripted reality, and the people who are so-called rulers or powerful people are playing their role in the script. Just like the main character in a script would be given most of the time in the limelight, and then there's side characters, and sometimes there's people that are completely in the background that are irrelevant. You know, remember that one scene in the Matrix movie where you have the woman in the red dress? There's so many people in that scene, but you're only able to notice her, right? That's a good kind of like perception twist in a sense. But I do feel that the people like Donald Trump, Kamala Harris, and Barack Obama, and even people like Cristiano Ronaldo, and then you have like Lady Gaga and famous actors. They're all just playing their role, okay? Because it provides balance in the whole equilibrium of what's going on here. Like you need balance for the universe to be, right? And we need theater. We need tragedy and we need comedy. We need distractions, all right? The bread and circus is there for a reason. It doesn't mean that you have to be consumed in it like most people are. It doesn't make you better either for the fact that you are not consumed by it, because there's probably things that you were consumed by that at the end of the day, if you just zoomed out and looked at you from, like this avatar level, as if you were playing a video game, you would be like, why am I focused on this stuff? Does this stuff even matter? And then it ends up being like, what would we call it? Existentialism. So it is what it is really where this is headed. And my take on what the scripted reality is that it was probably scripted by me and I wanted it to be this way. And that everything that comes in my way that seems like a problem or seems like it's the adversary of me, like, the Agent Smith in the movie The Matrix, that's something I have to become comfortable with, you know? The funny part about Agent Smith is, remember what happens to him at the end of the third Matrix when Neo and him are having this crazy fighting scene? And then finally, Neo realizes, I don't need to fight this guy anymore. And the moment he stopped fighting him, Agent Smith exploded. Okay. So, whatever's coming in our way, whatever's throwing a wrench in our plans, whatever feels like suffering or depression or this anxiety or the worry or the problems or whatever, that's here to make you better. That's part of the script. Just like a movie is more entertaining when there's an antagonist. A movie would be fucking boring if it was just, rainbows and unicorns, and so would life. So that duality is there for keeping everything in check. And then beyond that is the Trinity. It's the feelings. This is where Trinity from the Matrix comes in. Again, part of our script. The Matrix movie is showing you that we live in a scripted reality. When Neo meets the architect is like, I don't remember what he says. It's like your 700th version or some shit. I would not be surprised if that's true. I would not. At the end of the day, would it be shocking? Let's ask the beaver. But anyways, I appreciate your support, Hail Metallica. Truly. I don't think that the elite are so elite. I don't actually think they're as powerful as they seem. What makes them powerful is that we believe they are powerful. And the number one way to make somebody believe that you're powerful is by having more money than them. Isn't that fucking hilarious? But isn't that what we've been spellcasted into believing this whole time? See, this is why I decide to move in incognito mode, because I don't need a flex. I don't need to prove what I own or prove what I've accomplished or any of that shit. I am a stream of consciousness. because that's what got me here. And whatever I have that's material, it's great and all, but it's never worth anything in the spiritual sense. We must transcend what that is. And when we look at what makes the most money and gets the most likes and gets the most subscribers and gets the most attention on the world stage, it's whatever assets you have, right? So when we see these like 19-year-old influencers with their laptop on a beach being like, I run a business that makes $1 million a day or whatever, flipping, some arbitrage thing. It's like, and then they're like opening up the Lambo and then this and this and this. And that's part of the marketing, right? Be careful how you market yourself in this scripted reality because you earn the currency back based on the way you marketed yourself. There's a reason why market starts with Mars, kit, okay? Because it's the mark. Think about these words. The god of war, Mars. This is the god of the protector of the lands. But these are things that are physical. These are not spiritual at all. So when you transcend these ideas and you check back in with your ego and have that conversation that's probably very uncomfortable, you'll start to see that, well, you were probably going against your script. And that's why you had these things called problems, suffering, rock bottom. But guess what? Rock bottom was the perfect launch pad for where you're going next. I believe that even rock bottom is scripted into your reality. You needed it because you wouldn't fucking learn. And it was time you learned. So the Matrix puts you in those positions to be like, will you learn now? No? Okay, here you go. Well, you ready to learn now? No? Okay. Are you ready to learn now? Okay. There's a beautiful episode of a cartoon that shows you this. I believe it's called Midnight Gospel. It was by what's his name? Duncan Trussell. He's like this comedian, but kind of spiritual dude. Super hilarious show. But there's this one episode in Midnight Gospel where he shows this like prisoner who's locked in a prison cell and then he dies and then he gets resurrected and he just has to keep going through this over and over and over again, like this endless loop until he basically learns what I'm explaining right now. Like you were put in this avatar, in this body to experience reality for a reason. And you could be aggressive and angry and this, that, or you could be fake, right? You can be completely fraudulent. You can just show off the material goods and have no wisdom, right? You can have all these plastic surgeries and all of this implants and that, but what do you think that adds up to in the bank account of the cosmos? Because there's transactions going on there. Yeah, you can't access them on a phone app, but I know they're there. And I know when I say these things, sometimes people feel a different way. They're like, whoa, I've never thought about. Well, it's time that we start considering this shit. Because, what we earn here on the surface is just one of the many currencies that exists in this realm. So, the most powerful money to ever be, in my opinion, is loyalty, it's gratitude, it's community. These are the things you can't actually buy. And if you could buy them, it would be false. If something is beautiful but it has no soul, what is it? What's its true value? Getting back to, yeah, there's a couple of great things that you guys have all added into the response I gave earlier super chat. Magnesium oil, for sure. I think I brought up magnesium, liquid magnesium as a supplement. Lots of kind words about castor oil, too. Okay, we have Adam who says he's a physiotherapist. Gentle stretching will break down the scar tissue. It may feel counterintuitive, but it will work quickly by increasing flexibility, even the tendons. I believe that's also what I shared. In general, just move it or you lose it. And that's a big problem when you have pain. You tend to not want to embrace fixing that pain because it feels even more painful, which is kind of what Adam was saying, how it like feels counterintuitive, but in actuality, it's what's facilitating the healing. Decode your reality, of course. Wishing you a beautiful Saturn day wherever you are in this matrix. Appreciate you, and I'm looking forward to reconnecting soon. Getting back to this chat. I hope you guys are enjoying this beaver. He's enjoying you. Stubbs says, which blockchain is the World Bank using? Also, what's Bram Cohen up to these days? um, the World Bank. I'm not entirely sure what the World Bank and the IMF and these globalists are using. I don't think they're using one particular blockchain. I think if I had to share my thoughts on the conspiracy, it's that they are the ones that gave the go ahead to all of these projects to create these different blockchain technologies. And they're building out the infrastructure and doing the dirty work for them. And then whatever it synchronizes to all be will be kind of like a contest, of each blockchain facing off to see who's like the one that gets to stand on Mount Olympus. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's kind of the way that I would look at it. I don't think it's something like that we're aware of directly today, although we do have assumptions, some people might think it's like Algorand plays a role in it, or XRP plays a role in it, or XLM, or but my take, or Chainlink. But my take is it's all working in harmony to build the infrastructure that these globalists will use. So, like again, we're part of the problem. I always say this. I know people don't like that, but it's the words that need to be spoken. Our investments are just funding the blockchain future. That's all. For me, that's why I trade them, because I'm not going to be holding this stuff forever. Like, it's an opportunity. You got to get in and get out because, well, maybe some people know or some people don't know, but blockchain isn't about freedom. It's called blockchain. You are chained to the block. So don't date it, don't hate it, just trade it. Young Woo, I appreciate your super chat. You said love and appreciate you, Waters. If someone was born in January 1969, would their birthday be 1168? Um, it's a tough one, because I would personally call January Janus, and Janus is the two faces, the two pillars, Yakin and Boaz. This is the Twin Towers. That's your 11. So my truth is that yes, you're born on the 11th month in January, but we also have to take into consideration the day you're born, because I like to go by the astrology, and particularly I like to go by sidereal when it comes to looking at it from this vantage point, which again is just a little bit more nuanced. And I'm by no means saying that I have figured it out completely, because I think even the Gregorian year is corrupted. I mean, obviously, why do we have the Gregorian year as it is? Well, because of this archetype named Jesus, one of my favorite Louis C.K. jokes. But for real, like, well, what if you don't believe in that guy? What if you look at that guy as more of this allegorical archetype that is your body, right? And you're not looking at it as the year it was born because of whatever Julius Caesar said. and the Holy Roman Empire, So even the year is kind of fucked up. So now we've thrown so many different outlooks into this that it's like at the end of the day, please just stick with what is the presented system and then whatever you resonate with. So I would keep the year. And you do ask an amazing question though. Like what year do you consider it? Because it hasn't quite made it over into March yet, which would be what I would consider the true new year in this in the northern hemisphere. Great question. I mean, at the end of the day, it's tough. Like I have my own truth, but like I don't want to derail, like for me it's kind of funny because I'm born March 16th and March 16th would be Pisces and sidereal and tropical, and it's also what I would consider the true around the true new year. People would call the new year the vernal equinox. I kind of don't. I like to consider it when the sun moves into Pisces. Okay. And that would be around March 15th or March 16th, which is my birthday. So I'm not choosing that because I want to feel special. I'm choosing that because we're following what the sun is doing in the actual sky. Okay. We're not just following off the exoteric vernal equinox date, which would be typically around the 22nd. I'm not calling those people wrong, but if you want to consider the new year as the equinox, that's fair, but I'm looking at this based off the relationship the sun has with these constellations. So I like to look at when the sun moves into Pisces is the beginning and the end, the alpha and the omega. And then when it leaves Pisces and goes into Aries, that would be the switch up into the true, like the true year. But you have a big problem now because it's like, is the new year March 15th or is the new year April 14th? Right? It's like, guys, it's the beginning and the end. 0 and 1 are states of consciousness. All right. And to me, that's what Pisces is symbolic of. It's symbolic of the feet, and then you go back to the horns, to the Aries, to the ram. That's why I don't even like this, like coming to a conclusion on what the new year is, because symbolically, it's so much more than that, right? You don't just have an end without a beginning, and you don't just have a beginning without an end, and that can't be just a single day. It's a month, it's a month, it's a 28-day period. Fuck, I feel like I need to like write a PDF file on this or something because I know it has a lot of value, and perhaps as I'm diving deeper into this theory of mine, this idea, it'll come together and I'll have more answers. But sure, I guess to be simple with your question, technically it would be 11 in the 1968 year. And we have to throw so many other things into the equation. The Hebrew calendar, which might only be like 500 years old. You have the Chinese system. If you're trying to determine what year you're born in, that would throw a wrench in it. There's so many things, man. I love having fun though with this kind of stuff because decoding should be fun. It should not be absolute. And I get kind of bored when I'm listening to people that are like, the new year has to be the 22nd of March. I'm like, well, did you even look to measure if that's the actual time of the true equinox? Or are you just going off of that because that's what the internet says? But like, we could all observe the sky if we wanted to. What's interesting about me is I don't call myself an astrologer or a I don't say that I'm holding that position. I was also going to say, I don't say that I'm an astronomer. I'm neither. I utilize, to the best of my abilities, the art of astrology, but I am by no means an astrologer. There's many different components to my work. So just want to lay that out there because I know there's so much conflicting evidence on what's the right way to look at things and what's the wrong way. And if I had to share my truth, I think the actual new year is a 28-day phase of the sun moving into the sign of Pisces in the actual sky and leaving the sign of Pisces in the actual sky. And that would be the time frame between March 15th to around April 14th. I hope this helps. Although it definitely probably doesn't give anyone any answers that they're looking for. Remember, though, life doesn't have answers. Nothing great in life is an answer, it's a feeling. And remember, they put you through school and they forced you to have only one right answer. Remember that psyop? They said you have four choices or maybe five. You have A, B, C, or D. You could only pick one and you get graded off of the one you pick. Well, I've learned in life there's many, many right answers. There's actually probably many more right answers than there are wrong answers in reality, in practice. There's plenty of ways to accomplish something, to get something done. It's that they indoctrinated us through the education system, through the indoctrination camps, into wanting only one answer. See, they fucked us from the beginning. And now what I'm doing is I'm unfucking myself to get to a place where I'm like, oh, yeah, it doesn't have to be that way, does it? And then this is where it unfolds and it fractals and it's like this Fibonacci spiral. It's quite amazing, actually. It leads to a more creative flow state. Got a super chat. You said I read it as a myth, as defined by Ernst Junger. Nice. I don't know who that is. Enignomo, where are you tuning in from? Are you in Romania? No, no, no. Romania uses the euro. What currency are you using? I appreciate your super chat. I would love to know where you are from, or where are you. You don't need to let me know exactly, but it'd be interesting. I love finding out where the wolf pack is in the realm. Yvonne said, "My pronouns are told, you, and so." Well, mine is Hobbit, so that's my end game. M. Felton says, "Bro, you must watch Lord of the Rings. It's not just entertainment. It's like The Matrix. The movie is an awakening. It's very deep." You know, I trust you. I really trust you, but at the same time, M. Felton, I hate you because I want to watch it, but I'm just too fucking busy. Like, and I'm not joking around. Like, I would actually probably super vibe with that movie. I've seen little clips of it, and I got the idea. Like, you know, I remember hearing about this Sauron character. I mean, I could probably decode the movie without watching it if I just got some brief synopsis, and I wanna watch it, but I'm too busy. I gotta admit. I almost started watching one of the Harry Potter movies. I might actually dive into it, but I have to watch movies in, like, 5 fragments, you know, because of the time that I'm working with. It's really, important that I focus on my art and creation, so I don't wanna be too caught up in the consuming stuff, but I do believe that you're right. I would probably have so much takeaway from the Lord of the Rings series. It's just where do I find the time to commit to that? I got a quick question from Elaine saying, love from Fiji. Okay. Hope you're having a beautiful weekend. You said, explain why you think the Aussie and New Zealand calendar should be different. No, it's not the calendar. It's that, oh yeah, yeah. I guess that's kind of in alignment with what you're asking. The months and tied to the zodiac. So quickly, just over here, I hope you can see this. I don't have too much time. I got to wrap this one up, but we're looking at the zodiac wheel and we have Pisces over here. And I just explained earlier that the new year on the other hemisphere would make most sense when the sun is entering Pisces and leaving Pisces. That would be your new, your annual reset. right? The two fish, the as above, so below. And this right there, them facing each other's tails is the Ouroboros, but it's been put into duality as the symbolism. Okay, the two fish. This is your polarities. These are your feet, right? And this symbolism is beautiful because it's showing the balance, the yin and the yang. It's symmetrical in a sense. Same thing with the symbol itself. Now, opposing that would be Virgo. This is when I believe we should perceive the true New Year month for Australia and New Zealand. To me, that makes more sense. Now, you're probably all aware that the summertime is opposite for Australia as it would be for the United States. So if they're opposite summers and winters, well, wouldn't you do the same with the zodiac wheel? It would make sense, right? Because this all has to do with the relationship of the sun to these signs. So, food for thought, but it seems to be the most sensible and logical way of looking at it. It would not make any sense to fix this system for everyone, no matter where you live. Also, this is just Western astrology, right? So, there's the whole other side of things, Vedic astrology, of course, and that's a whole other rabbit hole. But I hope this answers your question. Got a super chat from Dean. Dean, much love. Over to you in Europe, wherever you are. You said, I have a kid of 6 with a disadvantage when she was 2, had sepsis, and almost died. Well, that's really unfortunate to hear. You said she is 6, but acts like a 2-year-old. She was diagnosed with autism. She seems happy. Any advice, brother? This is very, very tough for me to talk about, Dean, because these sort of things break my heart when I hear, and it makes me emotional. And I don't know anything about your situation. I'm not sure if your child was a home birth. Were they born in anything that I'm about to bring up is just going to probably make you feel bad for what you chose to do during the process of your wife being pregnant, or the birth process itself, such as round of uh, jabs, etc. And I don't know I don't know what to say there that could make things not sting, right? But those play a massive role in these disadvantages. Okay. So yeah, if there was a round of antibiotics given, even this can create these problems. So I'm really in an odd position with the scale of what we're working with here to give direct advice with such limited information. Um, but I feel that one of the only things that could be done in this situation would be an extreme fast, and telling somebody who's has a 6-year-old to go through this protocol is seemingly very extreme. And that's again where it's tough because I don't know, is the child already like underweight? Are they um is this just purely a mental thing? Has their body kind of been on track with its growth? And I mean, yeah, it's tough to give advice. I'm being 100% honest with you. There are things and ideas that I have, and I suppose it's the same stuff that I'm usually telling people when it comes back to healing thyself and detoxification, and it won't be any different for the child, especially a child that hasn't gone through puberty yet. So because she hasn't had a period or any of those, you could be a little bit more flexible with the protocol. And but outside of that, I'm not really sure what else is going on. It's very limited information. I would just say that consider the fasting route. And perhaps if you don't want to be so extreme with the fasting, maybe like a juice cleanse, do like a 3-4 week juice only protocol, the highest quality organic, uh, fruit possible. I know we're heading into the colder months, so you might want to move forward with this sooner than later. I don't know where you're living, by the way, so that could play a huge role. Getting off of tap water 100,000,000%. No more fucking tap water, and try to get water filters for your showers. Okay. Another thing is if you own a bath, like a bathtub, you can do soaks in the tub with magnesium. This could be helpful. And remember, little goes a long way, so don't be so extreme. But those are a couple things that I could give off the top that you could consider. Safe, not too extreme approaches. And the most important thing about all of this is that you said she seems happy. I think that's really important, and play with that energy, be very playful with her with any of these new things that you try, okay? Cuz the healing is in the feelings, not what you do. I've been trying to get people to wake up to this. You can eat the cleanest, organic, perfect diet in the world, but if you have hate inside of you and you're fearful and you're just negative and you're thinking negative thoughts about other people and you're mad and you just have all of this shitty energy baggage with you, well, it doesn't matter what you're putting in your mouth. It doesn't matter how well you're eating, okay? But because the energy field that all of this digestion will go through will be killing you. It's called digestion for a reason. It's all in the words. So if you want to live, you have to live. All right. And that requires you to move on from the pent up energy and release. Just like you breathe in and out, you should do the same thing with your feelings. They're in and out. But we're very much in the modern world stuck in this emotional cycle where we're always reacting emotionally and we're never responding to anything. So when you eat, when you are with your partner, like whatever you're doing, especially the things you create, okay, when you cook your food, you have to have a good energy while you're cooking that food so that it can give you the good energy. You know what they fucked you all up with? They made you all fall for things like calories and protein and carbohydrates. That's fucking low level shit, guys. It's about feelings and energy and frequency and vibration. Think about this. When you're a farmer, you need to put love into the soil, love into the land, and it will produce love. It will produce life. It will produce light. And then when you harvest that and you cook that food and prepare it with love, it will give you light. It will give you life. It's the same thing in so many different ways. And we miss that because we've been chopped into a million sections of isolationists. Like we want to make everything about the most isolated version of the thing until we're left with no spiritual essence at all. Haven't we all realized this yet? It's a sickness we have as humans where we want to remove the vital life force of it all and replace it with isolating everything. So remember, the truth is that it's never in the additive principle. It's always in reductionism. And the way that you reduce to the most powerful form is realizing that one is all and all is one. It is all part of the whole. You can chop it up into a million pieces and give it all these fancy names all you want. But at the end of the day, that's not how it's actually working in practice. The utility of it is different. So please consider this. Sure, you can sit there counting your protein grams and looking at how much fiber this thing has and this, that, and the third. It's all fucking irrelevant at the end of the day. You are not the nutrition facts on the back of a bag. You're a infinite consciousness experiencing this reality in an avatar. And the relationship you have with all these things in the matrix is way more important than any number or any piece of data that a scientist in a laboratory isolated. So don't fall for the marketing and start putting your energy into the feeling of it all. Breathe in air. I appreciate you sending lots of love. You said, I find it hard to enjoy my life or passions without guilt. I love riding motorbikes, but I feel guilty I'm not being in service to others. Although on guilt, that seems to stop me from enjoying my life and my passions to the full. Well, you need to take care of yourself in order to be useful to others. This concept of being sacrificial is heroic and all, but what's it worth if you feel like shit? You must take care of you, and then you will emanate this kind of energy field that will make the right people gravitate towards you. And those are the people that you can be in service to. But you got to fix what's going on with, well, I hate using the word fix, it's the wrong word. You need to face what's going on with you first. You are the sun in this solar system, not the thing that's bright in the sky. That is just a reflection of you in another energy field. But you have a relationship with that thing. We all know we do. Hence why we celebrate our birthday, the solar return. You wouldn't have made that day so significant if it wasn't for a reason. The relationship we have with all things continually comes back to that ball in the sky of energy. So if you want to be that ball of energy here on the earth plane, you have to remember this, what I'm about to say. Sure, the sun gives you life, or it gives you the feeling of life is happening with longer days in the summer and then the death in the winter with the shorter days and the snow and the cold. You know, we could think of it that way. But what I want to bring up is that, do you think the sun cares when it's burning your skin because you stayed out in it for too long? Do you think the sun will ever tap on your shoulder and be like, hey, you're about 10 seconds away from me burning and destroying you? Do you think the sun does that? No, it doesn't. The sun doesn't give a fuck about how long you want to be out in front of it. If anything, it's probably welcoming all of you to be out there worshiping it. That's what the ego does, right? That's what the sun is. It's a big ego. So here's the point. Be the sun and know that you're going to burn people in the process. But if you're honorable and you're doing what you can do to the best of your abilities in service to self, then you will gravitate towards the people that you are here to serve. And it will be a beautiful, harmonious relationship. But face whatever you are avoiding with self now and take care of that today. Don't avoid that anymore. And you will become the sun to many people. And they will smile when they see you instead of feeling burned when they're in your presence. All right, family, I have to move on. It's been 2 hours and I am on a roll here, but I definitely need to push through this one. I got a super chat from Shitcoin Steve, one of the all-time legends here in the Waters Above Wolfpack. Steve says, any tips on chronic pain from right below my heart, wrapping around the area muscle behind my heart, down to my left kidney? Are you talking about like your lats, these big muscles on the back? That's a common thing. It has a lot to do with your posture, with the way that you're keeping your shoulders in relationship to your head. Your head is very heavy. So with modern technology being the focus and all of us using laptops and cell phones, we're kind of like leaning our head forward. And what this does is it makes you roll your shoulders over, and then your scapula is like crunching down when it should be open, and like your pec should be out in front of you and your head should be seated on top of your neck. And it's typically not that way. Most people's head is out the furthest in front of them. Their shoulders are caved in, their chest is in, and then their back is hunched, right? So this is just a postural fix. One thing that I would look into, shitcoin Steve. I love calling you by the full name because it's amazing. Steve, what I would look into if I were you is this lady Esther Goclay. Amazing. She talks a lot about posture, and there's just these little fixes that you could implement that she teaches, such as how to walk properly. Yeah, all that stuff's big. But yeah, you're probably having just some issues of rolling the shoulders over, not having your scapula retracted effectively. Your head is too far in front. And in general, like your the way that you're seeding all of this energy and weight from top to bottom is imbalanced. Once you correct that, the pain will correct itself, and a lot of it also comes back to the feet. So that's where her work is amazing because she'll break down a lot of that stuff for you. Enjoy. Got a super chat from Treshoyakis. Appreciate you. You said doctors said that I have a Gilbert syndrome and I can't fast. I have some intestine problems, and when I try to fast, my eyes turn really yellow. Okay, I don't know anything about Gilbert syndrome. I'm not sure if this is like something going on with purely digestive or if it's actually let me just look it up because then I might be able to get some context. I try to stay away from these diagnoses. And I'm not a doctor, I'm not a medical professional, I'm not your doctor, so the people that are out here, the people that are out here that are asking these questions are usually because they're getting something alternative that's not putting people through the ringer of, Western medicine. Okay, were you born with this? That would be interesting to know, because you said the doctor said that I have Gilbert syndrome, so is this like a new development? Has this been something going on your whole life and you're just realizing it? Because it says that this syndrome is a common harmless liver condition in which the liver doesn't properly process bilirubin. Okay. So we're talking about the liver. Okay, yeah, this is why your eyes are turning yellow because it may become jaundiced. So I was gonna bring that up because that's typical when people have jaundice, they get this yellowy eye thing happening. I would love to know, can you see well? Do you have any vision problems? That'd be one thing I would like to be a little bit more aware of. But yeah, as for digestion and things that are going on, your liver's huge, man. So I don't know why the fasting would be problematic there. But one thing you could consider if you want to try it, now I'm not telling you what to do, but keep it open in your mind, would be Shivambu. So go like a full 24 hours. Um, only consuming your own waters. And I know this is radical for a lot of people, but if you're trying to fix your problems, you need to be aware that you were created perfect and that all these imperfections that you have are because of things that are going on that need to be taken care of. And your body creates everything to take care of that. It's just when we consume food, specifically cooked food, and specifically the food of the modern age, this has a lot of material in it that makes it very tough for your body to detox or to actually utilize the nutrients in this food. So there's very little life force in the food nowadays, and that was something I was talking about a little bit earlier. So yeah, obviously stay away from alcohol. This would probably be very, very problematic, and you're obviously probably aware of this already since this diagnosis. But yeah, Shivambu route might be the best way in this case, and it's not gonna be, um, unicorns and rainbows. You might be really off put by it, but there's plenty of things to study. Actually, in my expansion mastermind course, I have a section dedicated to, just one lesson dedicated to that with a whole list of articles and books, PDF files, and stuff to read. It's pretty amazing. I got a super chat from Hassan, super sticker. I appreciate you so much, sending you lots of love. I didn't see any question or anything. Maybe it'll come up. If it does, I'll make sure to answer it. Got a super chat from David Schmidt. Appreciate you, brother. Sending lots of love. You said I bought Crypto Mastermind and couldn't open it and now can't even find it. Well, that sounds like a personal problem. No worries, brother. All you got to do is go to my website, watersabove.com/FAQS. So slash facts. And that has a troubleshooting video. Another thing you could do is just look through your email and type in waters above, and you'll see the email confirmation that you got when you purchased the course. This will tell you how to get access to it. But all you got to do is go to my website, watersabove.com, and log into the account you made. And then after you log into the account, which was very simple, it just has an email and a password. Then you have to go to programs, the tab, and then the programs tab will have the course. And if you still can't figure that out, just shoot me a message over on my support chat, um, or support email, and I'll be able to take care of that to you probably by tomorrow night. But we will sort that out, so don't worry. And I appreciate your support investing in my art. All right, family. It was beautiful to hang out with every single one of you for so long. Over 2 hours, we made it. 500 beautiful souls all the way to the end. I appreciate every single one of you. Again, tomorrow I will have the new Red Pill podcast available over at patreon.com/watersabove. And we'll be covering about 4 to 5 different altcoins this time. Last week I did the What I'm Investing in special, so I covered about 25 different altcoins. This one will be a little bit more our normal scheduled program, but I'm still really excited to get into it. And it's the podcast leading into the release of my new full-length decode project, which is the Black Moon Decoded. I'm working on that right now. I will be having it available over on my Patreon on November 1st. So next Friday, I'm really excited to get that one out. And I appreciate and I'm grateful for every single one of you. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your Saturn day in the Matrix. I'll be catching some of you tomorrow in this Red Pill podcast. Appreciate every single one of you. Much love.